time is up at a busy shelter site. So that was designed to be a safe haven for people cleared out of Oakland's largest homeless encampment.
I just got the rest of my clothes.
We'll meet residents trying to grab what they can ahead of the move-out deadline, and why some who lived there say there's no excuse for letting the site fall apart.
This right here is a failure.
Plus, the trash piles starting to get more unbearable in cities across the Bay Area as a sanitation strike enters its second week.
I have no idea what to do, where to dump it.
We'll hear from frustrated neighbors as even the backup dumping sites start to overflow. And President Trump's new tomato tariffs putting California businesses on notice.
They're already struggling.
And later, we'll meet the scientists working to make sure marine life can thrive. The results of a groundbreaking experiment as San Francisco plans to rebuild its aging seawall.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. The deadline has arrived for homeless people living at 2 West Oakland shelters to move out. The city is shutting down the shelters on Wood Street, which until a couple years ago was the site of Oakland's largest homeless encampment. So the city eventually leased a stretch from West Grand Avenue to 26th, south of MacArthur Maze, then turned it into a safe parking zone and built some tiny homes for temporary shelter. So this is a satellite photo. This is of the site from earlier this year. And if you look on the lower left-hand side, you can actually see the safe parking area packed with RVs there. But those shelters are closing, and everyone had until 5 o'clock this evening to grab their stuff and get out. Our Lauren Toms was there as residents packed up.
As you can see, this is not how it was when it first opened up. A lot of this chaos is created now is because there was no real oversight.
These cabins on Wood Street in Oakland were designed to be a temporary community for people who were experiencing homelessness. People like John Janosko, who says it was here that he was able to get back on his feet.
It just it gave me somewhat of a sense of stability and a somewhat of a foundation where I knew I wasn't going to be evicted, swept, or kicked out or anything. Just provided that stability that I needed. I couldn't be on the streets anymore, and I needed something a little bit more secure and something that it represented like next step getting housing, basically.
But in a matter of a few months, it went from a thriving community run by the nonprofit BOSS, which was contracted by the city of Oakland in 2023, to this. John's former home now abandoned and surrounded by rotting food, needles, and trash.
This is the failure of it right here. Just the failure is that BOSS walked off. That's a failure. You walked off a program that was supposed to be providing for the most vulnerable of our community. Oakland failed.
I spoke over the phone with Donald Frazier, the CEO of BOSS, Building Opportunities for Self-Sufficiency. He says BOSS offered food and support services for at least a year, and the community was thriving until the city of Oakland stopped payments about a year ago.
In July 2024, things got really difficult. And when the payments stopped coming, it just crippled us.
He says he's heard nothing from the city, which had promised a $4 million annual operating budget for the Wood Street cabins in a nearby RV park.
No rhyme or reason, no explanation, no meeting, nothing.
He told me the city has since paid the nonprofit for services through March of this year, but he says BOSS is still owed through May when it ended operations at both sites. In a statement, the city of Oakland tells us it leased the land from a private owner and must return it by the end of this year, adding that repairs will take at least 6 months. The city posted these eviction signs on June 27th, notifying remaining residents, about 20 people, to vacate by July 14th. The Oakland City Council voted last month to decommission the sites. The city says the people who remain on site have been offered shelter, and most have accepted.
I just got the rest of my clothes I got to put up in this basket, man, and then I'm out of here.
Kevin, who's lived here for 8 months, says while he does have somewhere to go for now, it's far short of what the city promised.
We just want to be promised what they said they was going to give us. Just give us a place.
Now, here at the former Wood Street cabins, these residents have officially been evicted. Once a temporary housing solution with a thriving community, now turned back over to its private owner. The cabins you see here slated to be demolished. Former residents left wondering why this program didn't see more support.
Long before the cabins were built, hundreds of unhoused people lived at the Wood Street encampment. In 2022, nearly 3 years ago, Caltrans began tearing down the part of the encampment on its land. Oakland soon followed suit, clearing out people living on city-owned land. The entire process took months, and that site has been mostly clear since spring of 2023. Now on to a tragic story out of San Jose where police shot and killed a man who they say fatally stabbed his 9-year-old son. This happened yesterday afternoon at Cataldi Park in northwest San Jose. Police say they got a frantic call just before 3:30 from a father saying his son had been stabbed. The police chief says officers rushed to the scene where they found 48-year-old Matuz Duzerban, who they said was hunched over the body of the boy. The chief says within 5 minutes, officers learned he had stabbed his son and had lured the officers there, hoping they would kill him. The officers tried to negotiate so they could get to the son, but say the man rushed at them with a knife, and that is when an officer fired and killed him.
There is no known or understandable explanation for what could possess a father to take the life of his own son, especially in such a violent manner. What we do know is that the conclusion to this tragedy was both deliberate and calculated. The suspect chose the location and pre-planned a confrontation with officers in order to force them to take his life.
The police chief said the man had no local or documented mental health history. We spoke with Josiah, who lives there. He walks his dog in the park every day. He was there when police showed up. He says it's hard to believe such a brutal crime could happen in his quiet neighborhood.
It's pretty tragic for the family, for the mom especially. Like, what could his thoughts be to do that? And prayers out to the families.
This was San Jose's second fatal police shooting in a week. All right, now to San Francisco, where a Walgreens manager has been convicted after a violent confrontation caught on camera with a suspected shoplifter. Sarah Donchi is here now to break it all down for us. Sarah.
Yeah, so Juliet, the Walgreens manager, 49-year-old Guang Hong, was convicted of assault with force likely to produce great bodily injury. The San Francisco District Attorney's Office says he used keys to attack the suspected shoplifter, Larry Whitlock. This happened on March 19th at the Walgreens on 18th and Castro. The DA's office says that Whitlock shoplifted a bottle of shampoo. He was confronted inside the store by the manager, who recovered the item. A street camera captured a violent confrontation, though, outside the store. The DA's office says Hong charged at Whitlock and punched him with a key in between his knuckles. Hong was arrested and charged with assault with a deadly weapon. Whitlock was charged for battery and petty theft. Now, when we first reported on this, regular customers told us this Walgreens was a frequent target of shoplifters. One of them said he felt bad for everyone involved.
I feel sympathy for both of them. I feel sorry that people are having such a hard time that they're having to shoplift, and I also feel sorry for the people that have to deal with it on a daily basis. Yeah, I feel sympathy for everybody.
Hong is expected to be sentenced on August 15th. The assistant district attorney who prosecuted the case said in a statement, quote, "Store theft is an important issue, but it does not justify an assault that goes beyond self-defense." Mr. Hong's response went far beyond self-defense, and we are thankful that the jury rightly held him accountable. Now, we mentioned the suspected shoplifter was charged with battery and petty theft. The San Francisco District Attorney's Office tells us his case is still pending. So, Jules, obviously, kind of a lot to sort out.
Yeah.
It's one of those stories where you don't quite know exactly what happened in the immediate moment, but it seems to have will play itself out now in court.
Yeah, we saw it on video.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah, thank you. Our driver died after their car plunged off Highway 4 in Concord. You can see the burned out car under the freeway there. This is near the Willow Pass Road exit. The Highway Patrol has not said what led to the driver going off the road. The crash backed up westbound traffic on Highway 4 for miles, but all lanes are now back open. Evacuation orders have now been lifted for a fire in Benicia, so you can see the smoke right off of the water there. It forced some evacuations for a neighborhood just north of 780 off of Southampton Road. No word on if anyone was hurt or what caused this fire. The sanitation workers' strike is now in its second week, and trash is piling up in places like Union City. And you can actually see people there dumping things that they wouldn't normally in their trash pickup, like mattresses and chairs. The sanitation strike is in its 6th day, with workers demanding better pay and benefits from Republic services. We caught up with some residents at a dump site in Daly City who say that while they support the workers, the disruption in service is becoming a hassle.
Very inconvenient, because I'm a single mom and I have a whole bunch of garbage at home and it's stinky.
I have a young baby at home and they have lots of diapers, so our garbage cans fill up pretty quick.
The Teamsters Union and Republic Systems have resumed negotiations, but no deal is in place yet. Republic is asking customers to leave their containers out as they work on resuming service. The Trump administration is pulling out of a decades-old tomato price agreement with Mexico. The move makes way for a 17% duty on most fresh Mexican tomatoes. So that means you can expect to pay more at the grocery store or at the farmer's market. Bill Loratelli has been selling fresh produce from his family's stand in Modesto for more than 40 years. Prices for those homegrown tomatoes won't be affected, but he does run a small distribution business on the side, supplying taco trucks with imported tomatoes. He says they will definitely feel the impact.
We have a small business who supply maybe 20 taquerias and taco trucks combined. If they're talking 30%, probably go up 40%. Have to make a little bit extra just by handling it.
The new tariff could drive up prices in restaurants as well. We talked to a worker at North Beach Pizza in Berkeley. He says he's not too worried about it yet. He just has to be on top of making sure to buy products on time to avoid any shortages.
If I don't actually buy in the early on the weeks, then I'll be end up with less amount of the items coming to the store.
This tomato tariff is separate from the 30% tariff on products made in Mexico and the European Union that President Trump announced over the weekend. All right, still ahead right here at 6, a former Major League pitcher with Bay Area roots convicted in a disturbing murder case in Lake Tahoe, how family members are reacting to the verdict. Plus, we'll meet researchers examining the living seawall along San Francisco's Embarcadero, how their experiment could pay off big time as the city looks to remake its waterfront.
Marine life still finds habitat, and we're just trying to enhance that.
And the Valkyries back at Chase Center after 2 tough weeks on the road, how Golden State hopes to steady the ship tonight at Valhalla. A former Major League pitcher on trial for the murder and attempted murder of his in-laws has been found guilty. Daniel Serafini, a former professional baseball player with roots in the Bay Area, was accused in the 2021 home invasion death of his father-in-law, Gary Spoor, in the community of Homewood. His mother-in-law, Wendy Wood, was also severely injured and later committed suicide. Prosecutors say Serafini was hiding in his in-laws' home and attacked them after his wife and children left. Both his wife and his former lover testified for the prosecution at trial, and today Serafini's sister-in-law spoke after the verdict.
It's been 4 years since my mom and dad were shot, and it's been 4 years of just hell. And the Placer County District Attorney's Office and Sheriff's Office never gave up, and today finally justice was served.
Serafini was also found guilty of first-degree burglary, but was found not guilty of child endangerment. Without a seawall, downtown San Francisco and its vibrant economy would not exist. But the city's existing seawall was built way over a century ago. It's aging and vulnerable to earthquakes, flooding, and sea level rise. A few months ago, we told you about an innovative experiment that tested out specially designed tiles that become part of a new wall. And this morning, they've removed the last of the tiles to be sent out to a lab and tested. Ann Makovic explains what they found.
Along San Francisco's Embarcadero, a groundbreaking experiment is revealing promising results. At the aging seawall, a diver with the Port of San Francisco carefully removed some experimental tiles. 3 years ago, the port installed them into bay waters. Now, after 2 years of monitoring, 9 tiles were slowly hoisted up, placed into protective bags, and into the hands of scientists from the Smithsonian Environmental Research Center. Each tile has become a thriving new community, packed with marine life.
Even in the midst of the city with all its hard structures, that marine life still finds habitat, and we're just trying to enhance that.
The tiles are part of the Living Seawall pilot project. They have special textured surfaces that are intended to promote biodiversity and support native species.
Living seawalls are this idea of how do we still protect and provide the needs of shoreline defense that a seawall does, but could we add some habitat value to it?
San Francisco's rock and concrete seawall stretches over 3 miles from Fisherman's Wharf to Mission Creek. Built more than 150 years ago, it is deteriorating and at risk.
The seawalls, it's a big continuous piece of infrastructure, but it's sitting on young bay mud and squishy soils, and in an earthquake may and likely move bayward. The other risk, of course, is sea level rise.
The Embarcadero already gets flooded during king tides. Global warming is projected to cause sea levels around the bay to rise between 3 and 6 feet, even more, by the end of the century.
We need to fortify our seawall and our line of defense.
One line of defense: boost the bay's biodiversity. The more species living in the bay, the more resilient and healthy the waters will be as the planet warms.
Here's a sea spider.
As for the tiles, early results show they do indeed promote biodiversity and support native species.
So we want to do something that tips the balance in favor of native species.
From Olympia oysters to seaweed and crabs, scientists have detected 10 different native species living on the tiles. Home sweet home.
The port is expected to begin work on the new seawall next year. It's hoping to finish by 2040.
Already the fog is swallowing up downtown San Francisco, and we're going to see more of this as we head through this week. Temperatures inland, a mix of 80s and 90s, but the 90s are going to be in really short supply beginning already tomorrow. Details on how long this cool stretch of weather will last, cool by July standards anyway, coming up with the First Alert forecast.
Monday brings us Monday, fun day. I don't know. What do we say? What do we say about Monday?
Nothing good usually.
Well, it leads to, I don't know.
No. Monday's the day you got to get out of the way before you can get closer to Friday.
That's true. But listen, nice coordination without even, texting each other.
Black and pink day.
So that worked.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just share a brain.
Yeah, sometimes.
I'm going to borrow here for the next few minutes and
take
do
it
weather.
away.
Let's take a look at what's happening weather-wise here. We have noticed a little bit of haze on the horizon. The Air District actually lifted the air quality alert that was in effect, which doesn't mean that air quality was unhealthy at ground level, but just that haze on the horizon because of the smoke coming off of these fires in Northern California, the Green Fire and the Orleans complex. But the bulk of that surface level smoke has been staying to our north, and even the haze on the horizon wasn't too visible today. Let's wind the clock forward, and the bulk of that smoke is still going to be staying to our north. In fact, air quality around the Bay Area, while it was in the moderate category, east of Oakland Hills and parts of the Santa Clara Valley, it's actually going to get better and better over the next couple of days because of the persistent and gradually stronger onshore breeze kicking in. That is going to help out that air quality at ground level and even through the depth of the atmosphere, helping to push even the upper level smoke a little bit farther away from the Bay Area. So let's take a look outside right now. There's that fog that is swallowing up downtown San Francisco. We are going to be seeing the wind speeds picking up every afternoon. Here's a look at our futurecast wind gusts for tomorrow. We're going to see that wind picking up to the 20 to 30 mile an hour range on the strong end of the spectrum tomorrow afternoon. Very similar wind speeds once again on Wednesday, and that's going to not only help the air quality, but it's also going to keep our temperatures a little bit cooler than where they were today. Did climb up into the mid-90s in both Concord and in Livermore. Those 90s, they're going to be hard to find over the course of the next couple of days. So let's take a look at what temperatures look like right now as we look out from the top of the Mark Hopkins Hotel, or more accurately, we don't look out from the top of the Mark Hopkins Hotel. The fog has swallowed it up. Upper 50s right now in San Francisco underneath that fog. Low 60s in Oakland. Other temperatures still a mix of 70s and 80s. Still 82 degrees in Concord, but that's a drop of 8 degrees within the last hour or so. So that cooler marine air beginning to make its way farther and farther inland. Let's track the fog as we head through the rest of tonight. We'll return to the local map here, and it's going to spread out, but again, it's a fairly compact marine layer still at this point, so it's going to have a hard time overcoming the terrain obstacle of the Oakland Hills, but at least some push into those inland valleys of the East Bay. Plenty of fog in the North Bay and the Santa Clara Valley, but that inland fog doesn't last long. Within the first few hours of the sun coming up, it retreats to around the bay, and it'll make it all the way back to the coast as we head towards lunchtime tomorrow. But at the coast, you're not going to see much sunshine peeking through those clouds, not just tomorrow, but through the duration of the 7-day forecast. It won't be as warm tomorrow. Temperatures are likely to reach up only to a mix of 70s and 80s inland, low to mid 80s in the Santa Clara Valley. Those numbers are very close to normal for this time of year because the southwesterly wind gets blocked by the Santa Cruz Mountains, so no marine air for you. Temperatures east of the Oakland Hills, though, only low to mid 80s as well. These numbers running about 5 to 10 degrees below average, a mix of 60s and 70s, and even a few low 80s around the bay, 81 degrees for Redwood City, but only 70s for the North Bay. Southwesterly wind does a pretty good job of getting into those North Bay valleys, and that's going to keep your temperatures a little bit below average, or quite a bit below average, as we head through the rest of this week. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and we'll start inland where temperatures are going to stay in the 80s. On Wednesday, the coolest day in the 7-day outlook would be more of a mix of upper 70s and low 80s for inland high temperatures, but even the warmest days this weekend only up into the mid, maybe upper 80s. That's not bad at all for July. Temperatures around the bay staying right around 70 degrees with the morning fog giving way to afternoon sunshine every day. And at the coast, this is a very consistent forecast, consistently gray and consistently cool as well. 61 or 62 degrees each and every day. I think if we had a 14-day forecast, it would be the same thing, around 61, 62 degrees. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Lots of fog.
Yeah, I mean, mild, we haven't hit a lot of triple digits.
Hardly
summertime.
any, which is kind of a bonus at this point. You know it's coming eventually.
I don't mind, but yeah.
Oh, my electric bill definitely doesn't mind.
All right, Paul, thank you. When we come back, countdown to tip-off at Chase Center. We're going to hear from Valkyries coach, and after the break, from a 4-game road trip. Here's a look at what's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
I'm Jonah Kaplan in Jefferson, South Dakota. This looks like a healthy cornfield now, but last year it was underwater. A story of floods, farming, and recovery. That's tonight's Eye on America.
The Valkyries back in action tonight at Chase Center. They host the Phoenix Mercury, who are one of the hottest teams in the league, winning 10 of their last 12 games. Kelsey Thorne is inside Chase Center, where the team's hoping to rebound after some tough games on the road.
Well, the Valkyries are back in Valhalla after a 4-game road trip that had its share of ups and downs. The team beat the Indiana Fever, but then lost their 3 other games. And coming off that tough loss against Las Vegas, the team is hoping to show what they can do tonight against a very good Phoenix Mercury team. Right before the game, we got to talk with head coach Natalie Nakase about her expectations for this game.
Like, Caitlin is a joy to be around. She has really great energy, and anyone knows that coming day to day to work and having someone with a smile on her face every day, that uplifts everybody. And like, you want to actually go talk to Caitlin because she's gonna, like, whether she's gonna say something funny or she's gonna make fun of you. That's always nice to have.
And coming up at 6:30 on the Valkyries pregame show, we will have more with 2 of the top players, Veronica Burton and Mo Billings.
Kelsey, thank you. And of course, you can watch tonight's game on our sister station, Pix Plus. Pre-game coverage starts in just a couple minutes, like Kelsey said, on Channel 44, Cable 12. Meantime, the CBS Evening News is next right here on KPIX. We have local news on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're back here in 30 minutes with more news just for you at 7 o'clock. We'll see you then.